Can we hear anything?
It's coming up.
How about now? How about now?
We got the spinning.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, spinning.
Are you not on my Wi-Fi?
Can we hear anything?
Perfect. You guys talking.
Okay. On the 30-second delay or more.
So it's picking up mine really well. But you guys are kind of quiet.
Mic there.
You would think. Go ahead and go into the settings and broadcast. Here, just leave it. You still have it up, or do you already close it?
No, so
Not hands
All right,
down.
we're gonna let it run for 30 seconds.
He practices now, and he's in rehab.
Okay.
Because I'm more worried about capturing the audio so I could redo this on YouTube for you guys.
Wow. I'm really that. Put in the back seat, I was just like, I don't know.
You guys sound better.
I'm more worried about capturing the audio so I can redo this on YouTube for you guys.
Oh, let's try that again. So what do you guys remember from last week?
We went to a bar and we learned about some person that was kidnapped, and the dude was useless and didn't help.
Fantastic.
Little 7-year-old girl got kidnapped, had a couple of distinguishing facial features.
I think the dad might have been named Yago because I wrote that down.
Okay.
It's Drago. He was a fighter from
Drago?
Russia.
Paul's character tried to make out with the barmaid.
I think multiple people try to make out with the barmaid, if I remember correctly.
Just form a line.
Lecherous word.
All right. So, when we last left our players, you guys had received letters from mysterious writers asking you to basically start a new group for one that had gone missing called Harlequin's Requital. Your presence was requested at a tavern called the Black Rose Tavern. And it was on the high road where the road branches off to go towards Nightstone. You guys each independently left and readied yourself for whatever may come. You received patches and you adorned them onto your outfits, and you made your way, and there was a lot that seemed to happen. There was a barmaid that multiple people tried to court. There was a daughter who was kidnapped. There was some, we'll just call it fun, times. And then after watching a party get formed, you guys decided that you would make your way to Nightstone and see what all's going on to try to look for the girl. And that's where we left. So, there's a crackling of fire, and each of you awaken in your tent. Really quick, everybody just roll a d20 and tell me what you roll. And I'm going to roll for Paul.
What's your score?
I'll tell you once you roll. Just a
7.
straight 7, okay?
16.
Okay.
12.
Okay.
19.
All right. So, Jonathan, there was a gentleman that you recall having paid about 2 silver, don't worry about that, who you guys asked to watch as you guys camped out at the burned down remains of the Black Rose Tavern. And he came over, he woke you up and said he has to be on his way. And you guys all woke up startled from a very similar dream. You come out of your tents and you recall that you had all camped there for a couple days and gotten to know each other a little bit because the Black Rose Tavern had burned down decades ago. And so you went to the spot where it was located, and each of you independently remember the dream that you had that we just recanted. But it is almost dawn, and you're at the road that branches off towards Nightstone. In the time that you guys have traveled, you have learned that Nightstone gets its name from a giant obsidian monolith. Monolith? We'll go with monolith. Obelisk that is in the center of the city that has a bunch of runes on it and it emanates magic. And Nightstone in and of itself is a fortified city that is heavy for trade and pretty well known, even though it's a little bit off the beaten path. You know that it's about 10 miles from your current location down this trail, give or take. And that's what you're expecting. You guys all received letters telling you what you're supposed to do and who you're supposed to meet. Not that you were supposed to meet each other, but that you would find people with similar patches. And independently, you recall the fact that, you kind of stood there at this junction and 1 or 2 people would come up and you'd notice the patch and you get to talking to each other and telling them about where you came from and at least your name. And you guys decided that since the day was long and you thought that everybody had finally arrived, that you would bed down and head out in the morning, just because everybody knows morning's safer. You found a guard who was on his way home, who you offered some ale and some coin to, and he decided to go ahead and stand watch because you were all exhausted from your travel. And that's where we pick up. As the sun begins to rise over the coast, you can hear the seabirds mixing in with the sound of the woods behind you. You begin to break down camp. There's a campfire. And again, you guys all know that you've had this dream, but it's up to you what you do with that information. And Jonathan, you were the one who woke up first. But everybody else is awake at this time.
The dream is what happened last time?
Yes.
Okay.
The dream is what happened last time. And, we're just going to play it that way because it works out well.
Guys, I had a crazy dream last night. Any of you guys?
I don't know about crazy. I kind of had a weird, dumb dream.
Nothing's ever dumb. What was it about?
I was this tavern when it was still around, but we all kind of met each other there, and someone got their hand trapped in someone's pocket, and people were trying to make out unsuccessfully, and kind of nonsensical stuff.
Do you think they have the barmaid still around?
Yeah, I do remember a barmaid. I do remember that part. That's
So you had a similar dream?
yeah, I do recall being in the tavern, Blackstone Tavern. I remember the barmaid. It's pretty similar.
Give me a perception check. D20 plus your perception modifier.
12. 14.
For your clarification, your dream, you were shorter than normal, and Davos was not there. And Susanna, can you close that door, please? And while you guys are talking, your friend Andre, the Goliath, is packing up his rather large tent and rolling up his bedroll. And he kind of keeps looking down the road saying, "Okay, guys, We ready? I had a dream, but I don't care.
Ready for what, Andre?
Nightstone.
Wait a second. Didn't your dream include Nightstone?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it included everything. It included Nightstone. It included dragons, and I think there was some nymphs in there. It's a good time. I got really drunk in my dream, and I think I'm hungover from it. It's fantastic.
Think you're hungover.
Rolled a 1.
Inconceivable.
Yes, perfect word. I rolled a 1. So, time to switch dice.
Wait a second. No one thinks it's weird that we all had a similar dream, every single one of us?
Well,
Does that mean there is no person we need to save?
well, you weren't in my dream, Davos. So what was your dream like?
It was super cool. Like, all the ladies loved me. I
Nice.
just walked in this bar and they flocked. And then I slapped this patch on my sleeve, and then more ladies came fawning, and that's really all I remember. It was cool.
Well, we know some parts of the dream are true.
Which ones?
Which ones?
I know it was shorter, and that's not true. Did anybody else feel any difference in height or anything like that in their dream?
Not that I know of.
Can we do a perception check?
Yeah, you can see how much you remember.
Yeah, I like to do that. And what's my modifier?
Whatever your
Wisdom.
perception. No, it's perception modifier. There is a perception.
Yeah, it was
Some people are proficient in perception at this table.
Alright, 10.
10. You recall that Apollo was kidnapped by giants.
Great. Was there a kidnapping in y'all's dream?
There was.
Give me perceptions.
11.
Okay, you recall that as well. What's your perception?
17.
Okay, you recall that as well. You also remember the fact that the little girl was kidnapped as well.
So it was not Apollo that was kidnapped.
There was a kidnapping of Apollo, and there was a kidnapping of a little girl. Apollo was kidnapped by the giants. The girl was kidnapped by the goblins. You remember the goblins. You just remember that there was kidnappings.
So what was this kidnapping? I only have a vague recollection, and Apollo, you were in it.
Is this foreshadowing?
Possibly. You know, I think that was the crazier part of my dream. Maybe that's why I felt so short, was because I was amongst giants.
That
For
would
part
make
time my
sense.
dream. I think that's probably what happened. But what do you guys remember? Do you remember being kidnapped in your dream?
I wasn't kidnapped.
I wasn't either.
But do you remember me being kidnapped?
Yeah, I remember that. You didn't really put up much of a fight.
Did you guys help me at all, or did you guys just wave goodbye?
I laughed.
Oh,
Sorry.
it's cool. We're still new.
No, I just remember the report of the young girl who was kidnapped.
Do you know she was kidnapped by giants?
I believe she was kidnapped by goblins.
So we know that there was a kidnapping. And
With-
somebody was kidnapped.
But at this point, I also know the information that you sent the letter to me.
Yeah, everybody, you still have your letters, you still have your patches, all that. It's just you guys are shaking off of a dream. What's everybody's
Okay.
passive perception? Also known as passive wisdom for
11.
the new people. 11?
12.
12?
With the modifier or without?
It's whatever number is in there. It's the one that's below everything else. Above your language is common, all that fun
Did you
stuff.
say 14?
15 plus 2.
What?
Wisdom, 15. Oh, never mind. 12.
12?
12.
12. So 11, right? And then 12s?
12, yeah.
Okay. You three, neither you nor I, off in the distance you can hear a bell that just seems to have been ringing the entire time that you guys have been awake. It's really distant. It's really far away. But it's at that point where it's like, oh, nope, my ears aren't ringing. You're starting to hear that ringing. It's just a constant It's like a church bell. Ding, ding, ding. It never ceasing. But we don't hear it. Andre and Davos don't hear it.
Do you guys hear that?
Sounds almost angelic.
And repetitive.
Can we make out kind of what kind of bell is it? Like, is it something like a warning bell or like a church bell?
History.
Or, do a history check. 15.
It's definitely a church bell.
Okay.
And your knowledge would tell you that if it's a church bell that continues to ring, that there's probably a problem. Because that was one of the signals people would use to gather and alert everybody in a town.
Okay.
But it has been going on since before you woke up.
Okay. So it sounds like this could be an alarm bell from a small village.
It's down the road towards Nightstone.
Oh, are we that close to Nightstone?
You're
Did you
give
say
or
10
take
miles?
about 10 miles.
Okay. So it could be at or near Nightstone. And that's where we're heading anyway.
If there's a bell ringing and there's a problem, we need to go. I'm up for a fight. That's all I do anyway. I drink and I fight things.
Hey, it's on the way.
Makes sense.
And I had instructions to deal with a goblin threat near Nightstone. And I also have intelligence that the goblins might be working with giants. So that could be what we're up against.
It's intriguing.
Giants and goblins. So let's go.
All right, so in a span of about everybody wanting to go,
Yep.
in a span of about 10 or so minutes, you guys have finished packing up your bedrolls. I want to go ahead and take a little bit of liberty here and say Davos stealthily douses the fire, buries it, and removes any trace that anybody was there. But you guys don't really notice that. Just playing into your character type a little bit. And you guys begin to head off down the trail. After a few miles, Davos, you can now definitely hear it. Since they mentioned it, you've been kind of perking your ears up a little bit. You could start to hear it, but now it's getting louder. And as you guys are walking down the trail, it's obviously getting louder, but it's at the same pace that you were moving. You can guess that it's probably, like you said, at or near Nightstone. And with that, we are going to actually put up a map. What? And this map takes forever to load sometimes, so I apologize. Thank you, Roll20, for making it purchasable. Maybe you guys can't see anything yet. Maybe that's the thing. Scroll down. See if you guys can see.
That's a really detailed map there.
Or you can zoom out, maybe. I just covered a fog of war.
It shouldn't be fog of war. That's... Oh, technology. I wonder.
I think it's the 3 bars. There you go.
I wonder if... We'll get this eventually. Hit refresh.
Loading. Establishing server uplink.
Oh.
My friend's here Saturday.
Oh. I thought that was yours.
Is that the one that wants to play as well?
Yes.
Fantastic.
This one, this here's
Nothing.
Oh. Gotcha.
nothing.
I don't even
One
see
ready
it.
to throw up the finger. He's like...
Oh, there we go. Let's play.
Sarah's baby, so it's bigger than mine.
Oh, really?
Zoom
7 pounds,
out.
6
So move
pounds,
that.
67
Yeah,
pounds,
move
and
that
then
down.
5 weekends for it. I don't know. Such a cute little
Zoomed
kid.
out as it's going.
How's Mike doing?
He's doing good. He's back at work. Can't wait to be back at work.
Wonder if it's still loading. The background should be olive green. Black usually means that it's doing
We got
something.
4 weeks of paternity leave.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I'm not sure. It is
Well, we'll see what happens after another minute or so. it's still running. So, yeah, as you guys are getting closer, you come up. There's a river, a waterway that you can hear off to your right, to your east, and it seems to be of decent size. And you come to a large clearing, and you can definitely see Nightstone, or what the town you presume is Nightstone, up ahead of you. The ringing is very loud and is emanating from roughly the center of town. You can see that there's just a lot going on. The sound grows louder as Nightstone comes into view. A river flows around the settlement, forming a moat. The village itself is contained within a wooden palisade, beyond which you see a windmill, a tall steeple, and the high-pitched roofs of several other buildings. Apart from the ringing of the bell, you detect no other activity in the village. The trail ends before a lowered drawbridge that spans the moat. Beyond the drawbridge, 2 stone watchtowers flank an open gap in the palisade. South of the village and surrounded by the river moat is a cone-shaped flat-top hill on which stands a stone keep enclosed by a wooden wall. The keep, which overlooks the village, has partially collapsed. A wooden bridge that once connected the keep to the village has also partially collapsed. I really wish this map was working.
Can I exit the game and go back in?
Yeah. I mean, you can look on Twitch and you can see it.
Is Twitch showing your screen?
Yeah.
If we watch Twitch, are we going to see secrets that we shouldn't? Like if we went back home?
You will, but I'm not too worried about it right now.
Okay. I'm not going to go hunt for them, but so if I did that.
Yeah, I guess what we're figuring out. If you guys ever watch the rebroadcast on Twitch or YouTube, whenever I get that out there, I'm not worried if you guys see my screen. Just don't bring that knowledge into the game. This is really upsetting me. I'm about to go all next steps on this thing. Let me turn off.
Twitch still looks like that.
Oh, because I haven't moved that over to Twitch yet. Yay, go me, learning technology. Okay, there.
Oh, there you go.
I had line of sight on, enforced line of sight. And since that's not really a thing that you guys don't have characters
There's no
loaded.
characters.
Yeah, then
There's no sight to line.
you can scroll down and you can see yourselves just a little bit further down. You can also scroll out. There's also down at the bottom, there's a depiction of what the side view looks like, so you guys can know what it looks like from the side.
Ah, the old Mott and Bailey.
It's actually what it's called.
Oh.
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah,
God, I thought it was...
that's a thing. You laugh, you jest, but it's a real thing.
Commonly
And
known
you,
as a hill fort.
yeah, and you guys do have access to moving your that player F, which we'll rename like Harlequin's Guide or something like that. We'll be able to always move the players, but if you guys are logged into your own computer, you guys will have the ability to move just your token. You won't have the ability to move anybody else's. You will also have a different view than what people in this room have. You will have the view of just your character once we start playing with that level of ability, to where you'll only have fog of war and line of sight. What can your character see? What can't they see? But that's down the line, and I'm not nearly advanced enough in technology, and I don't want to pay Steven a lot of money to make him do this for me. So, because I would have to pay you. But we're not sponsored. But if there's anybody out there who wants to sponsor us, that would be fantastic. I'm thinking of Budweiser, Dos Equis, maybe, I don't know.
Grey Goose.
Grey Goose would be fantastic. We could change our name to Harlequin's Grey Goose. But anyway, so you guys have your characters.
In-game tavern serve.
Yeah, it will always be in-game tavern. It will always be a tavern crawl.
This tavern brought to you by.
Yeah, this tavern brought to you by insert sponsor name here.
That one right there.
Ah.
All right, so you guys have a map. You guys can feel free to look around. You guys can also change around your marching order. I just kind of drop people on there. Each square is 10 feet. And that's each little square.
Each little square.
Little
And
square.
and it's scaled to the image. So if we do like the measured distance on roll 20.
I have no idea. This is a
Okay.
purchase from Roll20.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Cool.
So each big square is 10 feet.
Yeah.
So each little square is 5 feet.
Yeah, that
Okay.
that measured distance thing is super helpful.
Or super heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean it's 125 feet? My range is 120 for this spell. Sorry. You can move 5 feet forward, but you're exhausted. Alright, so what do you guys want to do? You can, like I said, you can spend a couple minutes looking around the map. There's nothing on there that I don't want you to see. There's a lot on there that you can't see. Now, if you're going to ask me questions about what is this and what is that, I'm going to tell you, you don't know yet.
I mean, it looks like there's catapult type of rocks.
But you wouldn't know that yet because you're not there.
Oh,
Can we do a perception check to see if we hear anything unusual?
Absolutely.
Alright, I'll do that. What's the modifier for perception?
It would be your perception modifier.
Imagine that.
It's wisdom if you're proficient in it or stuff like that. That's when it goes higher.
Alright, 17. I mean, sorry, 15.
This should tell you something. You hear nothing besides the bell ringing.
Oh, okay.
There's no birds.
Yeah.
There's no town chatter. Let me see. Anybody big on history? Like
Yes.
proficient in history?
Oh yeah.
All right. What's your history modifier?
5.
The gate being down is probably a problem
Okay.
for a fortification of this size. Usually the gate is up, is the default.
Okay.
Hey guys, stay still for a second. What do you hear?
The bell ringing.
Anything else?
no.
Animals? People?
Nothing.
Just you speaking.
Yeah.
It's a keen observation.
Yeah. Pretty big space for there to be absolutely no noise at all.
And we're not limited by initiative movement, so if you guys want to move, you can move up. But once you get up to the bridge, I will have to start paying more attention.
Shall we start
From what I was told, our contact here is the High Steward, Lady Nandar. So if we could find her, that would be the main source of information about what's going on, probably. But
Or what's
while
not going on?
while doing that, I feel like we should just watch out because there could be goblins or other dangers. And
You-
if there's really no one, like someone's got to be ringing that bell. So if nothing else, we could go find the source of the bell ringing.
Alright, well,
And as you're saying that, you see Andre just kind of pull out his great axe and just start tapping his hand. I'm ready for some goblins.
you need an axe for those goblins? Look at you.
Well, to be civilized, you know.
Alright, so we're gonna continue up the road?
Yeah, let's look
Sure.
closer. Yeah.
You can highlight most of you, or all of you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Drag them all at once.
at least I think you can. Nope, just me. Oh, yay.
Let's stop right there. I would like to, stealth.
Okay, give me a stealth check.
25.
So it's just high
Oh, sorry. I was turning on Twitch. I'm sorry.
25.
Yeah, Jonathan just broke the game. 25. Noted. For all you know, you are stealth.
Okay.
Okay?
Does speaking break stealth?
No.
Okay.
It's just a general, so on and so forth. Like, how covert are you being? It's assumed that you're talking in hushed tones and things along those lines. Actions break stealth.
Okay.
Any action, right, Mr. Former
Other
Rogue?
than walking?
Well,
Other
so,
than-
so stealth isn't like a status, like you're suddenly stealthed or not.
Right.
It's a contest against everyone else's perception.
Right.
So if you do something like shout, you're more likely to get noticed, even though your stealth roll is still in effect.
So with a, what did you roll? A 25? So
So if you like attack someone, they probably become very aware of you.
yeah, and so in a moment you guys see that Davos is he's nowhere around. You don't know where he's gone.
Well, that's odd.
You guys, you want to keep going?
Oh,
A
hi.
disembodied voice of Davos.
I hear him, but I don't see him.
Where are you hiding?
There's a tall piece of
All
grass
around
right
you?
next to you.
You know, he let me get kidnapped in my dream. I think we should keep going without him.
Now you guys see Davos kind of crouched down next to the road, on the outside of the road, so on the west side of the road, and kind of move along.
You guys, I'm gonna move up towards the tree to the north and see if I can see into the town.
Sounds good.
I'm taking you all with me.
And then are those towers next to the bridge?
Yes, they are.
Can I just see if I can see any guards or any movement or anything up there?
Sure, give me a perception check. And you're investigating?
Mhm.
So give me investigation.
Perception is 13.
13, as best as you can tell, the answer is no.
Okay.
8.
Okay. The bridge is down.
There's a tree.
I'm in a tree.
There may be grass around you.
There's water.
And what are you guys doing? Andre's going to move up. I can move Andre for you.
Okay.
Andre's going to kind of saunter. Typical Paul fashion here. Holding his battle axe, he's going to say, "Goblins, I'm coming for ye!"
Andre, be quieter. You don't
Huh?
know what's around.
Yeah, if you can move me closer too, I think I'm moving closer, so I get
Yeah,
a more accurate perception check.
Move me right behind Andre.
I'll keep moving up.
Would like to do a perception check.
Oh, look at the nice little grouping.
Alright. Perception check?
Yeah, for
that's a
towers.
perception check.
You're checking the towers? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, 10.
Yep, the towers, as far as you can tell, are empty.
15.
Looking past the towers, you happen to notice that there are... Let me see, where's it at? Actually, I meant to have you give me a survival check. I'm sorry. Reroll.
6.
Okay, Jonathan, you happen to notice that there are footprints made by several dozen people leaving the drawbridge, coming across the dirt, and they look to be heading north and in a hurry. You also see 2 large sets of unusually large wolf tracks heading in the same direction.
Are the footprints large or small?
Or they're heading from the north towards the drawbridge. I'm sorry. So they're coming from like up here, and they're going down and across the drawbridge. A bunch of footprints, and then 2 very like abnormally large wolf prints. So they're going across the bridge into the town.
Guys, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but there's a lot of footprints heading from the north side over the bridge into the town. It looks like somebody might have pillaged this town, maybe. There's also 2 sets of large wolf footprints.
How big are the other footprints?
Small.
They're pretty small.
All of them are small except for the wolf.
There's large footprints leaving and smaller footprints going in.
So, can I investigate those footprints and see, determine the size and understand the situation better?
Give me a survival check.
11.
They are humanoid. but that's the largest category.
Barefoot.
No,
footprints,
there's shoes and small feet and boots and barefoot and
Okay.
Can I check on those, the wolf prints?
nature.
19.
You can
roll.
you can
Also,
assume,
picking my
based on
skills
what
that
you've
I'm good at.
seen, where you came from and what you've been through, that these may be somewhere. They're larger. They're wolf tracks, but they're larger wolf tracks. So that makes you think maybe something like a warg or maybe even a dire wolf. Like they're significantly bigger, but they are definitely a wolf. And you've seen these kind of tracks before, as you've gone through what you've gone through in your past. But you're not sure which one of those it is. But you know that it's definitely a warg or a dire wolf or something of that nature.
Okay. If this is a dire wolf, I don't think we want to encounter that. So let's be cautious.
I would like to move into the top of one of those towers to get a better look.
So you're gonna cross the bridge.
But before I forget, I'm going to use a bonus action to concentrate on my precognition discipline.
And what does that do exactly again?
It gives me advantage on initiative rolls.
Okay. Good.
As I
Good to know.
approach the bridge, I would like to investigate for traps.
So you're checking for traps.
Yes.
All right. So that would be a survival check.
Keep hitting survival. It's a -1.
Hey, I didn't create your character.
I figured you'd be going investigation. I'm a +3
Wait,
there.
oh, you know what? You're right. It is investigation.
All right, well, 20.
I think. So checking for traps is investigation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. As far as you can tell, there's no traps
All right.
with a 20.
Then I will kind of march my way across the bridge. And I'll stop here and just kind of make sure no one else is around so I can move
Okay.
my way into the tower.
So these two watchtowers, they both stand about 20 feet tall. You can see that there is a roof over top of both of them, enclosing them both. And you can, if you go just a little bit further, which you're fine, you can see that there's wooden ladders on the back side that both lead up to the top. Both towers are identical. You can also see what looks to be just a heavy stone from something like a catapult, embedded in the ground at the foot of one of the towers. That's what this thing is here. Right there, yeah. And you can see more and more of these spread throughout. Also, you can see, so each of those little squares is 5 feet, big squares is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. You can see that there is a very large hole in the center of the town square, right here. But you can't see how deep it is, but you can tell there's a hole there. Based on what you've learned, you would assume that's probably where the obelisk was.
I would like to. I'll take my bow out
Mm-hmm.
and shoot an arrow to the foot of the bridge to notify them that they should come.
Okay. So, not having heard that, you guys hear a tink, thump, and there's an arrow that embeds itself into the foot of the bridge about 10 feet, 15 feet in front of you.
Guys, what was that?
But can we see where it launched from?
You assume it came from one of the towers.
Okay.
I'm standing on top of the tower pointing like this.
Okay.
Okay, so we can see that.
While
Why are you shooting at us?
Right.
make sure you mark off one of your arrows.
I was hoping one of them would grab it for me.
Oh, you didn't talk about this beforehand.
I would grab it and put it in my own quiver.
So,
But my quiver's full.
so by the way, there's a trap door that was opened at the top of the ladder. That's how you were able to get to the top, is through that trap door. You notice that there's a winch on your side leading to the chain that leads to the end of the drawbridge.
Okay. I'm gonna leave that alone. I don't want to make any noises. Seems like a bad idea. As I think to myself, it would be kind of funny as they're approaching to start pulling the bridge up.
So you guys going across? Andre's going to go ahead and lumber across. kind of stopping here, looking up at Davos, going, "You almost hit me with that arrow, dude."
What are you guys doing? You guys go
Yeah,
across?
I'll walk up, and as we walk by, I'll kind of call up, like, what did you find?
There's a hole in the middle of the town square. I believe that's where the obelisk was supposed to be. I can't see how deep the hole is, but it's big.
Did you see any people
I see no
besides
life.
us?
I see no life at all.
From your vantage point, give me a perception check.
5.
Yeah, you
That's
don't
the
see.
Wheaton dice curse.
Oh, I'm the worst. Yeah.
Are you in Will Wheaton's seat?
It follows me.
Will Wheaton has a history of rolling ones.
Yeah, he rolls natural ones a lot.
And I do too.
Oh, I was thinking of
Low.
And we've tried different dice.
Okay.
He's checked his
Starburst.
dice.
Oh, God.
There's a whole bunch of stuff.
Thank you.
But yeah, you just see a bunch of these boulders and stuff. You really can't see what I was going to try to tell you that you see.
I figured you were trying to get me somewhere, and I rolled.
So what are you guys doing? 3 of you are still on the bridge. Well, 2 of you are still on the bridge.
I mean, I'll keep walking in, see if I can see anything.
Who's the emo guy?
Yeah, sure. And just look around.
Yeah, I'll head toward the where the obelisk was. Check that hole out.
So
All
you're
right.
moving all the way?
I'm going to move him.
Okay.
When you get to here, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. You can see that on the northeast corner there is a cart. Next to the cart, there is a dead dog. Around the dead dog, there are 2 wargs eating their kill.
I'm gonna slowly.
They recognize, they are now alerted to your presence, and they stop eating and they just...
Slowly back up. No, alert to my presence.
Take a shoot.
Aiming my crossbow out, and yeah, before to take a preemptive strike, I think I'm just gonna shoot one of the 2.
As you do that, roll initiative.
Is it just him or everyone?
Just him. You guys are too far back.
Okay.
You don't recognize any of this going on. He hasn't called for help.
No.
Um,
I'm looking around at the fields and the houses.
and I gotta
17.
find the warg anyway. Give me a second.
Since I just saw Apollo bring up a crossbow, I'll come up behind him.
But did you?
Aren't I like only 20, 30 feet away? and he's
10,
directly
20,
in front of me?
30, 40, 50 feet.
Wouldn't I be able to see him?
I don't know which.
There's nothing obstructing me.
Yeah, 40 feet to the back of him.
Where is... Where's the NPC sheet?
Do you get advantage for shooting from heights?
Not really.
Seems like it would be.
All right. Yeah, Susanna, you do see that. But Jonathan, what's your initiative?
18.
Okay.
Nice.
You might be able to make a case for getting a range if you're shooting from a height.
Mm.
But I don't know if any of that's in the rules.
Calling the sniper.
I figure I'm up there. I'm safe.
Yeah.
I don't want to come back down.
Okay. Let's see. Why did Susanna disappear? What happened there? Weird. Oh, okay. Got it. So, as you raise your crossbow, you see him raise his crossbow. Wars go first.
Ooh,
Um,
you got a good roll.
yeah, my normal rolls are back.
That's the best starburst ever. 2 strawberries.
Nice. At least it wasn't 2 lemons.
I actually like lemon.
Oh.
I'm
like
going to
all
need to
Starburst.
not use the roll 20. Have you ever used the roll 20 like character sheet breakdown for NPCs?
Not
without having
extensively.
the NPC card. It's
Yeah, not
it
exactly.
looks like a straight up character sheet.
Yeah.
It does me no good for NPCs like this.
When I did it, I was setting them up, and there's a thing you can do when you like click on it. There's like little handles that come off. You can customize what goes in those.
Right.
And so I was customizing those to just give me the relevant info. But that took some setup.
I mean, I could bust out my book, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to use what I think it is. So, we'll have fun with it. All right. So, this one, 10,
They're
20,
not dire
30.
wolves, so we might survive.
They're going to use both of their actions and get right up on you. They cannot attack. So, it is your turn.
Okay.
You
now-
can roll initiative for this one.
Oh, okay.
You still get to go.
Oh, so good to go.
Mhm.
Well, I'll say I'll call you guys and yell back that I need a little bit of assistance. Got
Help!
quite a situation on my hands, so if you guys could come out and help me. Need some help.
We can't join until the next round anyway, right?
Right.
Okay.
15.
Just wanted to-
Can I?
You're not going to take any actions?
Oh, no, I thought it was. I don't know. It's my turn.
Just so you know, you are considered within melee, so if you try to use your crossbow, it's a disadvantage.
Okay, that's what I was doing a different approach.
You can drop your crossbow as a bonus action and draw a weapon and use that to attack, or use one of your other abilities.
Yeah, I'll drop my crossbow and I'll do an Eldritch Blast.
You do an Eldritch Blast, alright. And how's that work?
That's +5. Roll 1d10.
Cookies.
Is it an area of effect, or is it a... There we go.
It's range +5.
Okay. So is it attack on one creature? Is that what it says?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that a cantrip?
Yep. So you roll a d20 and you add your 5. And which one are you attacking? The one to the north or one to the south of you?
To the south.
Okay.
I rolled an 18, so
That's a hit?
that's... He says +5,
Yeah. And you guys can now roll initiative, and I'll roll initiative
so
for...
that's 23.
How much?
23.
23 to hit? Right? Not
Yes.
23 points of damage.
No, yeah,
Okay.
23 to hit.
Alright. Roll your damage.
That's still D20, right?
Yep. That's whatever it is for your Eldritch Blast. I think it's a D8.
I think it's a D6.
I think it's a D2.
It's a D1.
It's a D1 plus 0.
It says D10.
Okay.
Nice.
Yep, it's the yellow one.
Okay. 7.
Alright, 7 damage. Alright. You were up. What did you guys roll for initiative?
5. That was with my advantage.
It's with your advantage. Oh my. Alright.
14.
Alright. So, Davos, you are up after Heloise, and then I will go as Paul, and then he'll bring up the rear. Alright.
Sit back and watch everyone else do everything.
Alright. Heloise?
Alright, I'm gonna go up behind Apollo. And I'm gonna use. I'm gonna use Guiding Bolt on the ward that Apollo was aiming at.
The one to the south? Okay.
Yes.
This one here?
Mm-hmm.
And how's Guiding Bolt work?
Thank you for eating a cookie. We've had 4.
Mark.
I'll take one if you can pass me one.
Let's see. Flashlight, street sports creature. Make a ranged spell attack against the target.
You've never had them?
So that's D20 plus your spell modifier.
Ultimate chocolate chip cookie.
It's on your spell sheet at the very top. It should be like +5.
+4.
Okay.
I think they're freshly made in Rochester
15.
and then frozen and shipped.
That is a hit.
Alright. Nice. Alright, and then 4d6 for damage.
Is that a cantrip? That's a level 1 spell, right?
Yeah, whatever this is.
It'll be in the cantrip section or in the level 1 section.
Because if that's for something that strong, I think you just burned a level 1 spell. Which is fine, just make sure you mark it off.
Okay. You have range +4.
Okay.
Level 1. Oops.
Make sure you mark it off.
Okay.
Burning up spell slots on the first encounter.
Didn't know.
I don't burn up spells, right?
What's that?
I don't burn up spells.
Not for a cantrip, no.
Right. Because
I think that's a 6. The one with the dot at the bottom.
Yes.
Alright, 6.
Isn't it like 3d6? Or 3d8?
4d6.
4d6. So roll a d6 4 times.
Well,
That's not a
It's not a
d6.
D6.
never mind.
Nope. This one has a 4 on top. There you go.
1.
Roll those 2. You can roll them all at the same time.
5, 4, 3.
Okay, roll one more.
roll a 2.
3.
Alright, so 5, 4, 3, that's 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14. And what's your plus? Isn't it like +3 or something like that?
+4.
So 17.
I think you could.
Let's see. It is not looking good. And it was the one to the north that I've been marking. You guys both attacked the one to the north, just so you know. It's not looking good. Davos.
I would like to use my short bow
Okay.
and launch an arrow at it.
Which one?
The one on the north.
Go for it.
And then I do have sneak attack.
How do you have sneak attack?
I'm stealthed and he has no idea I'm there.
That's not quite how sneak attack works.
Isn't it when you have surprise on somebody?
You don't have surprise.
So he can sense I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, are you still shooting from the tower?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's not hidden?
Nope. He didn't hide.
Okay.
I was stealthed.
You were stealth and then you climbed a tower and launched an arrow. And then you entered initiative.
Well, entering initiative wouldn't undo stealth.
Not
Shooting
necessarily.
the arrow did.
Shooting the arrow did, yes.
Alright. And it's a 10.
10 to hit.
Mm-hmm.
That's a miss. You only get one shot for right now.
Yeah, I'd probably only get one attack.
Okay. Cool. Andre is going to... What's his movement? 10, 20, 30. He's going to move up to here. And he is going to throw his hand axe at the same one that everybody's been attacking. Natural 20. So, I'm not even going to roll. It's dead. So the one to the north, he pulls out his hand axe off of his hip and he chucks it, and it catches the warg right in the face, and the warg falls to the ground, letting out its death call. And now we are to Y. We're just going to say Y. You're large. Yeah.
I'm gonna stand there for a moment and think really hard about that other warg to the south, and do a mind thrust.
Okay.
You have to make an intelligence saving throw with a DC of 13.
A warg has to make an intelligence saving.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think
Great.
he's gonna make it.
With DC 13, you said?
Yeah.
13.
Oh.
15 minus 2 is 13.
That's all that happens. Nothing happens.
Okay. Josh, you might want to check. I'm not sure if this happens at your level yet, but one of the reasons I was asking for sneak attack is I think you did actually maybe have sneak attack because you have a friendly within 5 feet. But I don't know if that happens at your level yet or not. That might be a trait.
If he has sneak attack, that's part of it.
Okay.
But this is something we kept going back and forth on, and I was watching Critical Role. They go
Right.
back and forth on it too.
Right.
Does that extra bonus of having someone near work for ranged attacks or only for melee attacks?
Right. And I read it that it works for melee attacks,
Okay.
but I'm not positive. I probably could be swayed over time, but for me, if you are fighting with somebody and somebody takes a pop shot with an arrow, I don't really consider that a sneak attack. Now, the sneak attack is about the skill of being able to sneak up behind somebody and stab them. So I don't know. And I know in Critical Role they go back and forth too.
Yeah.
Because then he eventually starts getting to dagger. Dagger.
His little belt of returning thing is awesome.
It is awesome, and there may or may not be one in this campaign.
Yeah.
But read into it, Josh, just that way we could, because we talked about it for a while. Critical Role, they go back and forth until about halfway through, and then I think they finally settle on that it's okay for ranged attacks.
Yeah, I'm only like.
Well, when Laura Bailey, when her character takes her level in Rogue, and is able to get sneak attack, that's when they start having the bigger conversation about it.
I haven't gotten that far.
Then I'm not going to give you any more spoilers.
Okay.
I spent 3.5 months watching episodes every day, not at work, because I never do things like that at work. Learn by what I say, not ever by what I do.
Sounds like that's
but yeah.
ways.
But we'll get that hashed out. I mean, this is the first encounter, Josh. We all good. So that's all that happens for you.
It's okay. We'll have plenty of mechanics to go over. When
we will, and we'll beat them to death. We absolutely will. The remaining warg is now going to attack Apollo. And it's going to bite you. It's totally going to not bite you. 8. That's against your AC.
Survived that.
So it doesn't hit you, right? I rolled an 8 to hit you. Is your AC higher than 8?
Yeah.
Okay, then it does not hit you. And then we move on to Apollo.
Seems like I have to turn my attentions to the north and
To the south. The one
Right.
that doesn't have the X on it.
right to the south. I'm going to take it up a notch and use my dragon breath since I'm in the front and
Mhm.
I have no chance of hurting my new colleagues, fellow patchmates. The dragon blast is a
15-foot line for you.
it's the bronze. So no, it's the 5 by 30 feet wide.
Okay. Yeah, you totally can hit them.
Okay. And it's a dexterity save.
Okay. And what's my DC that I have to go against? It doesn't pass.
This is 8 plus your Constitution modifier plus your proficiency bonus.
So 8 plus, what's your con mod?
1.
And so that's 9. And what was the last one?
Proficiency bonus
Just
is
says
2.
you don't need advantage on the
So it's
attack
8,
roll if enough
9,
enemy of the target
10,
is
11.
within 5
I
feet
do
of
not
it.
pass.
Yeah.
So I'd say it doesn't specify.
So do I get to?
Yeah,
and
ranged
it
or
says
not,
you have to roll
because
2d6
they say up here.
damage on a failed save. So that's roll.
So wait, 2d6 on a failed? Yeah. So yeah, 2d6.
The attack must use a finesse or ranged weapon.
Yeah. Which,
So that would make it.
Mm-hmm.
It would make sense if you can use a ranged weapon
yeah.
1
to use it.
and I rolled twice, right?
Yeah.
4.
Okay. 5 damage.
Do we know the damage counts?
No.
Okay, so
Nope.
you just keep going until.
Because I was in sunlight.
Oh, you're right.
That's right. That was horrible. So you guys, your newfound friend, who some of you have seen Dragonborn before, some of you haven't. You've only heard of them. He just kind of rears back and goes, and this cone of fire just emanates from his mouth, and he just lights this warg on fire, and it takes some damage. It yelps a little bit.
Is that also a cantrip? Or is it just
it's a cantrip.
innate ability?
It's an innate ability.
Ancestry. Yeah. It's a cantrip.
And it scales over time. Like, as he gets stronger, it gets a lot stronger.
Does it have to like refresh with a short rest or something?
No.
Oh, you just keep doing it?
Yeah, it works like a melee
That's
attack.
all.
But no, it says here, after you use your breath, you can't use it again until you complete a short or
So yes, it's later on that it becomes a cantrip.
Oh, okay.
Like, I think it's at level 7 or 10.
Right.
It becomes a cantrip, and it's pretty, like, by then it's like 46 or something like that, which is just ridiculous. So with that, we move on to Heloise. Davos, you're on deck.
Alright, I'm going to go to that second ward
Okay.
thing. I'm going to attack him with my mace.
Go for it.
1d20.
D20 plus whatever your modifier is, and your attack bonus for your mace.
Strength.
It should say like plus 3, 4, or 5. In
Plus-
the
Alright, 12, 4, 16.
16, that's a hit.
Alright. 1d6. 1.
And it's 1d6 plus what?
Plus 2.
So 3.
3.
All right.
There you go.
So Heloise walks up and she smacks it across the face, clipping its ear really good, and deals it some damage. Davos, you're up. I'm on deck. And you'll probably get the chance to go.
Alright, so I just looked into it. If I have advantage, I get sneak attack.
Okay.
I don't need advantage to get sneak attack if another enemy of the target is within 5 feet of it.
Okay.
Yeah, in the actual rules, it doesn't say anything about that applying to ranged or melee.
Okay. We'll go with it for now.
It just says the attack must use finesse or ranged. So to me, it means it should be applied.
It just means that you don't get it. I think this is where they also have the back and forth. You don't get advantage, but you get sneak attack if you hit.
That would make sense
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as you don't have disadvantage.
Yeah, as long as
Right.
you don't have disadvantage.
Okay.
So I'm gonna loose another arrow.
By loose, he means lose it.
Lose it. It drops. Where'd the arrow go? That is a 9. By the way, guys, I usually don't hit anything.
Do you want to try playing with my metal dice? You liked them last time you played with them.
Yeah.
Well, he also warned us about loaning his dice.
No, it's these dice you
Okay.
do
Yeah, the
not
plastic-
want.
The bag of mystery.
You do not want those dice at all.
Oh, so now we got the good stuff.
Now you've got the $90 dice.
It's so loud.
I know.
I'm still rolling single digits.
Fantastic. All right, so from behind you guys, up on the tower, Davos looses an arrow, and it flies over the top of Heloise, misses Heloise by a mere 15 feet in the air.
This just like flies away.
And it in fact, he hits a butterfly with it. And you nailed that butterfly.
He's aiming for it.
Like everybody kind of goes, whoa! Like you totally planned that. All right.
It looks dangerous.
Yeah.
Andre is going to move around over here, and he is going to swing with his great axe, just to see what happens. He hits this one. 1d12 plus 3. And I rolled a 12. I'll make up for the losses. 15 damage. Not enough. I did the math, and as long as I knew that he missed, I knew you'd still get the chance to go. Because I maxed out, and there's nothing I could have done. So, how do you want to finish this guy off? As long as you hit him.
Well, annoyed that this beast defeated my intelligence challenge, I'm just going to do it again.
DC 13?
Yeah.
Okay. 12.
All right. So it takes 1d10 psychic damage.
You giving him?
I'm going to use a legendary resistance. I'm kidding.
4.
You are not ready for those. 4? How do you want to do this?
I just think it to death.
Think it to death. Do you do like the whole squishing your head, squishing your head, squishing your head? All right. So for some unknown reason, after Andre swings his great axe, he connects, pulls his great axe back. You see the work just kind of go. Blood starts to come out of his nose, and you hear a little, and the work falls over dead. And with that, we're going to take our first break. And only break. First and only. So we go back to scene 1 and mute. So, we are back in the sweltering dungeon that is known as my office.
I don't think it's that bad.
I'm fat, so...
So, we are back.
And now we're going to have audio inception. Hooray!
I'm so confused. Deja vu.
Wait for that to clear. Okay. So, what's going on?
Door open, close.
We can leave it open. If we get loud, we'll have to close it.
Alright.
You can close it if you're hot, or leave it open if you're hot, close it if you're cold.
Delos is going to get down off the tower and join the crew.
Okay.
I
Two
just
life crew.
single-handedly beat these two beasts, my buddies.
And I'll come
Pretty
closer. Am I reasonably sure that these are the creatures, or at least the kind of creatures that made those footprints?
Yeah, as soon as you saw the wargs, it all clicked in your head.
Okay.
You look super like, you're a little character here. Let's get the hair
Hey,
off
I
your face.
typed in moon elf, and that's what I got. And then I looked at your character description, I was like, blue hair? Done.
Emu now.
So, Andre is just cleaning off his battle axe. He pulls his hand axe out of the warg that he threw it at and puts it back on his belt and kind of just stands there and looks around and says, it's already a good day.
Do I see any of my arrows around? I would like to retrieve them.
Yeah, you can retrieve one.
Okay. Sweet.
Well, I'm definitely not going to run out looking both ways anymore.
Look both ways before you cross the street.
Let Andre do that for you.
Yeah.
It would be kind of fun to send him places.
We should.
Why don't you go walk across the square and see if there's anything over there?
Yeah.
Hey, Andre, go after that shadow.
Well, from this square, yeah, you guys are close enough now that you can see that pit in the center is about 5 feet deep. And the ringing is just consistent throughout. Like there's still ringing going on.
Where is it coming from?
Do a perception check to figure out where it's coming from.
Let me see if I can figure that out for you really quick.
Yeah, would that be in the town or would that be across?
It's a church bell. Anything look like a church?
5.
I would say
From the building,
there's a cemetery here.
yeah, that one.
Right here.
From that building, that's where the bell ringing is, and it's just consistent.
I would like to peek through a window of the church to see if there's anybody in there.
All right, so that's the temple. And give me a perception check. The door is wide. The front door is wide open. So, are you peeking through a window or kind of peering your head around the door?
I'm peeking through a window.
Okay.
Or is that? Am I near the door? I
You're
guess
you're
I
right
would
at the
be
door.
near
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'm peeking through the door.
Okay. The door is wide open.
So it's 15.
15. All right. You see stained glass windows depicting images of a birth and a dawning, and the dawning sun, trees, and unicorns. It has this general layout, and in the back of the room, you can see a couple of doors back near the back part of the altar.
Do I see where the bell string is?
Nope.
A rope?
Nope.
From what I can see, do I know anything about this temple or what deities it might be attributed to?
Give me a religion check.
The Age of Aquarius. Can you hear it?
6. That's a natural 1 plus 5.
6. That's a natural 1 plus 5.
You know it's a temple.
You presume that this has something to do with one of the many gods of nature or forest, or if you're kind of peering through the door and you kind of see the stained glass with the unicorns and the sun, you assume that it might have something to do with one of the gods of the sun or dawn or dusk or something like that.
This is a human town, right?
Yes.
I would like to go further into the temple.
Okay.
I'll follow them.
I'll follow too.
All right. So with that, we get to go to no screen.
I don't know why the spell is ringing. what kind of gadget they have.
Yeah.
Or if someone just standing there writing it all day.
Why are you doing that? Somebody told me to do it.
Everyone else is dead.
Everyone else is dead.
If that's the case, stop ringing the bell. And
All right.
Sneak out.
So sunlight pours through the high vaulted chamber, through 4 stained glass windows, cascading a myriad of lights. And the light dances throughout the space. There's plain wooden benches, presumably for the elderly. Most of it's standing room, and there's some benches in the front.
So it's kind of like a Catholic church.
Very much so. Yeah.
Pews.
The
stained
floor is
glass.
dirt.
Can't be
And there's the door that's on the north area of the pulpit, and that door is like halfway ajar. That's the only door in the space. You can see the pulpit. You can see an altar. Give me another religion check.
A little better this time. Or the same. Another natural one.
Okay. Yep.
Thank
You know about the same.
I'll do a perception check too then.
That's not how this works.
Why not?
That's not how the Force works.
You can do perception check. That is fine. You can do perception check since this was religion.
I have a +3 to religions.
20.
You see, emblazoned in common on the front of the altar, the names Lathander and Mekalakai. I'm totally mispronouncing it. Not okay.
Makahini Ho?
It's Melakaika. Melakaika.
Elvish and Jewish combined.
Yeah. So that's what you were not able to see with your natural ones.
I don't know how I missed that.
Yeah. So, seeing these Heloise kind of mouths these words and it clicks for you. You're like, oh yeah, that's the god of dawn is Lathander, and Mila Mielikki. Yeah. So
We call him Mike.
Mike is the goddess of forests, which makes sense for this area because it's a farming and battlement community. But yeah, that's what you see.
So, Theodosius. Nathaniel. Yeah, not even close to Theodosius.
Plesiosaurus.
I would like to move to that door that is ajar.
Okay, one moment.
Peek through.
I mean, Chopper's really small. Maybe this is like 4 pounds.
All right. So in that room, you can kind of peek through. You can see that it's probably the bedroom. You see, from the door being ajar, you can see the footboard and the dresser and a bench, and that's about it. You can see a rug.
I would like to rummage for.
So you're going into the room?
I am going into the room.
Okay. As you open the door, you see to your left. This is so good. You see 2 goblins swinging on the rope that are ringing the bell. Roll initiative.
I would like to throw a dagger at one of them because I should have surprised them. And that's a 3.
Yours is better than mine. All right. So what's your first action?
I would like to.
You guys see him open the door and walk through.
I would like to pull a dagger and just chuck it at one of them.
Okay. Go ahead.
Hit him right back of the head, all movie like.
Go ahead.
No.
12.
12 is a miss. So you see him peek through the door, and you hear, "Oh God!" and you hear something that sounds like a dagger being thrown and missing widely by at least 5 feet. Clink, clank, 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 and you hear 2 voices say, "Get him!" and you hear some thump thump, and some pitter patter across the floor.
8 tiny reindeer.
And while they're figuring out what to do, they are both going to attack you. They pull their scimitars, and they both draw an attack.
Before that happens,
You're not in the room.
can I go into the room and put a resistance spell on him?
You can start walking toward the room, yeah.
All right, I'll start walking towards the room.
Okay.
I'll be dead in no time. Don't worry.
So the first one
Catch up
is
to you in about a round.
a 22.
That is definitely a hit.
All right, and the second one is a 25.
That's a miss.
Okay, good.
And here's where
10 total.
yeah, I'm down.
What was your HP?
7.
All right. So they swing the scimitars at you, and they catch you, and you fall to the ground, unconscious. And they start to work their way towards the door.
First turn, pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're unconscious. This happened last time we played. And they burst through the door as Heloise gets to the door. So you three now roll initiative, and I will roll initiative as well.
Oh, that's better.
Okay, what you got?
21.
Okay, Heloise.
4.
Do you add anything to that? Or it's just the roll? Oh, 14.
Your initiative is 0. Initiative is at the very top.
So 3 then.
I was gonna say I knew it was something. All right.
14.
15.
Oh, 15.
All right. So they come to the door. You guys meet each other. You get to go first.
Okay.
As the doors open, Heloise, you can see Davos's unconscious body laying on the floor, kind of going with the "What the fuck just happened?" look. But
So they're both coming through a door. Are they like side by side or?
they're side by side. You have Heloise, and then there's both of them at the door.
Okay.
And you're the only one that can see Davos.
Okay.
And Davos has 0 hit points.
He's down on the floor, unconscious
And unstable.
And also,
and unstable.
Mind thrust is my best ability in combat right now, and it's free, so I'm just gonna keep doing that.
Mind
Okay.
thrust.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Is that against one or both?
It's I can only target one creature.
Okay.
So,
And that's the
which-
DC 13?
Yeah, whichever one's on the left.
Okay. Passes.
Then I'd stand there and keep thinking about it.
Okay. Andre is going
Like a
to
teenager, just constantly mind thrusting.
walk up next to Heloise, and from his height he can see over the goblins and Heloise and see Davos, and he is going to take out his battle axe again, and he's going to swing at one of them.
On the ground.
He's going to throw a rock at you. Take 1 damage. Take 1 damage. That's all it takes, man. Nope, miss. That means that we are to Apollo, followed by Heloise, and then Davos's first death save.
You don't want me throwing death saving throws.
So I'm behind Heloise, and okay, so I'm at the very back. All right.
How do you say your character's name?
Yeltaris?
Yeltaris. Yeltaris probably did not move, but in the doorway you have a Goliath, and you have a... What are you? What's your... Are you...
Asimar.
No, Asmar. So, yeah, they're both human-sized. So you have a Goliath and then a human-sized person, and you can kind of make out the fact that there's a couple of goblins that open the door because you saw them right before Andre walked up, being all behemoth-like.
Okay. Don't
This is a
hurt
diverse
anybody.
group.
Yeah. Don't want to hurt anybody on my team. So I'm going to use the crossbow and hope I can roll a really
I'm gonna
sure
get
shot.
killed.
Okay? I'm not going to give you disadvantage this early on. Go ahead.
Okay.
Wait, never mind.
Oh.
We're in a really close room. Do you want to use a crossbow?
Well, okay.
Just at the
All you have to do is not roll a 1, and you won't hit any of us.
We're in a room like this, and you're pulling out a crossbow.
Well, actually, two of us
Move
are
your
at the
ear
door
a little
working.
bit.
Like, the room is a little bit bigger than this. So you would have a Goliath and a human, and then two goblins in that door space. And then you would have Davos on the floor, which you cannot see.
Yeah, I'm probably safe back there.
As long as the goblins can turn around and stab you again.
As he's falling down, he takes the arrow, turns, and falls. And stabs me.
I'm glad I combined their scores, because one of them would have probably fell you. And since they both attacked you, you would have already taken one strike against your death save.
Mm.
Yeah, let me take that back. I don't want to hit anybody on my team.
All you have to do is not roll a 1. You have a 5% chance of rolling a 1.
Now he's taunting you.
I'm saying the DM is saying you're not at a disadvantage.
Okay, because if I have a disadvantage, then I shouldn't go for it. But it's not the case. I'll go for it.
You probably shouldn't change your mind after he tells you you're at disadvantage too,
That
because you
is true.
declared an action.
Yeah. So go ahead and roll.
Smart. 4.
It's like moving
4?
a checker. I didn't take my
What's
hand off.
the 4 is the roll?
Yeah.
So it's 9 because you have a +5, I think.
It'll be next year, crossbow.
Oh, +3. So 7.
That's a miss. The crossbow bolt strikes the door
Flunk.
to the right
Whatever
of
that noise is.
Andre's shoulder. All right, Heloise, you're up.
Alright, since I can see Davos, I'm gonna go to him and use my Spare the Dying cantrip.
So you're passing through them.
You're passing through their space.
Passing through the goblins.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going in front, I can close the door.
They will get attack of opportunities on you. Both of them.
Both of them, and then you're joining me
Oh,
in
oh,
the
good.
afterlife.
Oh, excellent. I love that. Okay, I will go in my attempt to go to Davos. I will tap
Play
one
the
of them
Shadow of Mordor.
with a mace.
That's good.
Okay, you're not going to be able to
Shadow
cast
of
your
Mordor,
spell.
That's good too.
In the same.
It
Yeah.
reminds me of one of the
Yes,
characters.
Okay.
What's your health at?
My health is full.
But what's your how much do you have?
Is that armor class?
No, that's hit point maximum is where you're at right now. There's a big box right below it.
Oh, 9.
It's a touchy move to try to do that because they're both going to get attacks on you.
Oh, good.
I can make it a little more realistic because stating that the room is already this size, you will not get attacks of opportunity on them, but you will be basically in their space. You can get to Davos and reach out and touch him
It's gonna
Okay.
backfire
if that helps you at any way, shape, or form without drawing attacks of opportunity.
Alright, I'll go do that then.
Okay. So you can do what you wanted to do without getting an attack.
Okay, I'll do
I'm
that.
glad I rolled
All right.
that now.
So she's going to cast Spare the Dying. How does that work?
Touch a living creature that has 0 hit points. The creature becomes stable. This spell has no
Is that a physical
No.
touch?
physical touch. Has no effect on undead or constructs.
Okay. So you were stable, which means you are 1.
Just
And
unconscious.
no, you're conscious, but on the ground. This is the way that I'm going to read that.
Okay.
And you have 1 hit point.
That's all I need.
Yeah.
Because now I can surprise him.
All right.
Slap
Now that you have 1 hit point, you're up, followed by the goblins.
How close are they to me?
Oh, they're within 5 feet.
I would like to take a dagger and stab at his Achilles.
Okay. I'll allow it.
That is a 23.
That barely hits.
1d4 plus 3. 1d4 plus 3, 6.
6 damage.
On his Achilles.
Okay. Noted. He's not looking good. He kind of stumbles a little bit. He falls to 1 knee. as the national anthem begins to play. The one that you just hit is... Oh, I forgot that they could do that. Let's see. Seeing the big, scary Goliath, they are both going to... One's going to attack Goliath, the other one's going to attack Heloise. So go with Goliath first. It's a miss. Heloise. More than likely a miss. Ah, that's the wrong die.
I'll go with
Still,
this.
still maybe a miss. It's a 14 against your armor class.
18.
Miss.
Wow.
Oh yeah, she's in plate. She's a clang. That brings us to the top of the order. Yeltaris, followed by myself, followed by Apollo. You're up first.
Okay. Just to trade it up a bit, I'll go ahead and spend 2 side points to do a Hammer of Inquisition.
Okay.
That sounds awesome.
Well, how far away am I? Because I haven't moved.
We'll say 10 feet.
Oh, that's plenty. So it's the same thing. Intelligence saving throw, DC 13.
Okay, DC 13.
Hard headbang or whatever it's called.
Actually, all it is he pulls out a little gavel and goes, point of order, and everybody has to stop for a minute. Intelligence, you said, against 13? Both fail.
All right. Well, it's I think it's still one creature.
Okay.
So I got target. I haven't been paying attention. Whichever one's on the left.
Do you want the one that's already been hit or the one that hasn't been hit?
I'll do the one that hasn't been hit.
Okay.
And it's 2d10 damage.
Jesus. Okay.
I rolled 2 zeros.
So that's 20.
Okay.
Is that just at 2d10?
Yep.
Okay. And how's Hammer of Inquisition work? Like, what does it do?
Well, because you can't roll a 0. So
tar-
0 is 10.
Target a creature
okay.
within 60 feet. On failing an intelligence saving throw, the creature takes 1d10 psychic damage per side point spent, and has disadvantage on its next wisdom saving throw before the end of my next turn.
So, you guys kind of see Yeltaris just kind of point for a second. And he just focuses and he just snaps. And the goblin that isn't kneeling grabs his head as blood begins to pour from his ears, and he falls to the ground screaming and expires. He's dead.
Do you know that goblin's name?
Yes, that goblin's name is Beedo. Beeedo.
Rhymes
Good
with
to know.
Speedo.
And this leaves us to...
So just as a bonus action, I pull out some parchment and start writing.
Okay. Andre is going to... Oh, Jesus Christ.
Sort of fall laugh.
I need Susanna and Davos. So, Heloise and Davos, both of you roll the d6 and tell me who is lower.
It's going to be me. Oh, I got a 4.
Got a 5.
Ah. Alright, I'm dead.
So, as he swings his battle axe at the kneeling goblin, the battle axe leaves his hand.
Don't do it, Andre.
The head falls behind the goblin, and the handle falls over very quickly and smacks Davos in the face. And Davos takes 6 points of damage
I'm unconscious.
from the handle of the axe that left the Goliath's hand.
And you're at 1.
And
What was
yeah,
that one?
so
That's 2 points away from permadeath.
yeah, yeah. So that's Andre. Apollo, you're up.
Well, my hit points are actually 9. I just started at 7 because of the thing that caught my hand on fire.
I'm still order-wise.
From what?
I'm
From the
behind.
drain.
Oh, that didn't happen. So you had 2 more hit points.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I'm still out.
I know. I did enough. Yeah, but yeah, you were good. Sorry.
I'm still behind Heloise and Yeltaris.
You're next to Yeltaris. You have Heloise
In the middle of
and Andre in the doorway
Like-
still.
Hold on. Middle of a gunfight. Pull out
Well,
your...
this is one right here.
Take notes.
Okay.
If you started doing that...
Heloise, you're
I'm
up
less
after
concerned
him.
with
You're on
that.
deck.
That's how it goes.
You might have to do spare the dying again.
I was thinking that. Sensing a pattern.
I'm gonna do an Eldritch. Can I get closer?
Yeah, you can, of course.
Okay.
You have a movement of 30, I think. So
Okay, I'm gonna get closer to the action, if you will. Just make sure I'm hitting my teammates at decent AC. I'm gonna move closer and I'm gonna perform Eldritch Blast on.
walk me through how Eldritch Blast works before you actually say that that's what you're going to do. Because I believe it's a radius effect.
No, it's just a bolt. Or no, it's Eldritch. I think it's just a bolt.
I thought it was just about to behold.
I just want to make sure that you're not saying you're going to do something that may have the unintended consequences of putting you currently
Putting me on
unconscious
fire.
again.
Right. I mean, yeah. That's why I didn't do the dragon.
Yeah, just double check.
Well, you're out of dragon breath, anyways.
Until you have a short or long rest.
Yeah, it's a beam of crackling energy. Shoot sort creature within range.
Okay.
Range spell attack.
Okay. I should roll the metal dice just to roll some 20s.
Dramatic.
First roll.
It was a
20.
7.
7 plus
5.
19.
12.
19. 20.
That's rolled in single digits of it.
So what's your total?
12.
Miss. Flies wide. He puts out his finger, and this purplish lightning bolt just flies from his finger, flies between Heloise and Apollo, no, Andre, and hits the mirror, and the reflects up, it hits a candle and lights the candle on fire.
It was getting a little dark.
Yeah.
All right, Heloise, you're up, followed by Davos, who's unconscious. Again.
Alright. Eloise rolls her eyes, says a prayer to Apollo, and says, Lord help me.
Ooh, do you say, Lord help me? Do you? No, do you?
Sure, yes.
All right.
Oh boy. Here comes
Roll a
the
d20.
guy.
Like a bonus. That keyword.
We're in a temple.
5.
You come back with 5 hit points.
Sweet. Wait, what?
You prayed to God in a temple.
Yeah, you don't get any closer to.
Not the god you were thinking of.
Did I say 5? I meant 15.
Well, then he would have come back with like 3/4 of his health, or more than that, but still. But yeah. Oh wait, you only had 9. You come back with 3 hit points instead of 1.
That should last you.
Davos, you're up.
One
There's
more.
still a goblin clutching his Achilles, going ah.
Since
Mother,
I
help
have
me.
this dagger in my hand, I'm gonna slam it in the back of his head.
Okay. This is hilarious, by the way. If you guys try to picture this like a movie, it is unbelievably hilarious. You see him walk in and be like, oh, I missed. Oh, I'm down. And then wake up, stab, down. Wake up, stab.
I'm the back of the crowd, my friends. Here's a crossbow. Everybody duck.
I got this, guys.
That's
I'm
a
standing in the
critical
back.
foul.
Really?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
yo.
Die. Yeah.
Roll a d4.
One.
What's your modifier for a dagger?
It is a +5. Oh, damage?
Damage, yeah.
Damage is 3.
So you pray and you touch him and he sits up. Thank you. I can finish this. And he pulls out his dagger again and he swipes and he stabs you and you take 4 damage.
I take my prayer back.
So you take 4 damage from his dagger.
Great.
All right. Well,
What a gift
we're
from
back
God.
to the goblin again. The goblin is going to look around. And he is going to attempt to stab Apollo. Not Apollo.
Davos?
No. Me.
Oh.
Andre. The other A.
Andre the Dragon.
And he is going to hit him. Great. This is going to change everything. And that uses... what's my thought? You got to be kidding me. So he swings the scimitar at Andre, and he hits him. He hits him deep, really deep. like pretty bad. Pretty bad. Really bad. And he is going to disengage and run rapidly, limping, grabbing, past everybody towards the door. He can make it to the door.
Get him! Get him!
And with that, we are to the Altaris.
Wait, the goblin just walked past everyone?
He disengages. He has
he disengaged. Got it.
he has nimble escape, and he can use that on as many as he needs to in order to get by. Goblins are mean when it comes to that.
Yeah.
I forgot that they could do that. I should have done that at the very beginning. Like, oh god, there's a whole bunch of them. Let's get out of here. No. But yeah, so they are at the door. They're behind you by about 20 feet.
20 feet. I'll just get mine dressed.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Mind dressed up.
Pass.
Okay. Then I will just give chase.
All right. Andre is also going to turn and try to give chase. He cannot make it there.
I mean, I have to stay within 120 feet of him.
Apollo, followed by Heloise.
Yeah.
Okay.
He is now about
So that one's
15 or
up to
so
them.
feet behind you.
If they succeed, nothing happens.
He's just behind me.
Yeah, towards the door. He's at the door to
Costs
leave.
Points, but if they succeed, it's still half damage.
So
But it's
if
only
he's
6
behind
feet.
me, then he's
How many-
not. So I wouldn't hit. I wouldn't hit them now if I attack.
No, not at all.
Kind of like
Okay.
the key with the monks.
Yeah. And I can only spend a maximum.
It's
of
time
2
for
at a
another
time.
dragon blast. Just to kind of send him off on the farewell tour. Let's see. Wait, I can't. Do I need a short rest? Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll hit him with the Eldritch Blast then.
That's a cantrip, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
17 plus 5.
Ooh, that hits. What's the damage from the Eldritch Blast?
Uh, 1d10.
Okay. Go ahead and roll. Yes.
8.
How do you want to do this? You kill him. How do you want to do it?
Well,
Describe it.
since he's killed Davos repeatedly, I think I'm gonna stab him through his neck.
Stab him, but you cast Eldritch Blast.
Oh, I'm sorry, not stab, but blast him through his neck and pretty much take his head off.
Cool. So you see Apollo spin around and curl his fingers and point, and as he points, that purple emanating lightning bolt leaves his fingers, flies across the room with a crackling sound, and you see it kind of rip a collar around the goblin. The goblin freezes, his hands go out, and there's a loud pop as his head falls off of his shoulders to the ground. With that, you guys are out of initiative.
I was trying to think of who I remind myself of, and it's the Pink Panther.
Beautiful. And just to give you guys a concept of time, you woke up at roughly dawn. It's like 9 a.m.
It's not even.
Like 9, 10. 10 a.m. We'll say 10 a.m. Just to let you guys know. So, what do you guys do?
So do we think there's anyone alive in this town? Since the goblins were just ringing the bell and there was no one else here to stop them?
I still want to rummage the room.
I mean, I think we should rummage the entire town.
Well,
But no one else is here.
How long is a short rest?
6 hours. Or
No. 4 hours.
4 hours.
15 minutes to 4 hours.
Unless you're elf.
It could be as little as 15 minutes. Is what the actual ruling is for a short rest.
That's different from, I thought it was just an hour.
It's 15 minutes. Is
Okay.
as long as you are not doing anything.
I thought it was half of a full rest.
Nope. But anything longer than 4 hours, that's when you start talking about full rest.
So within the span of one of us playing, I can go through a short rest, or is that literally like the next?
You can go through short rest if you guys declare that you want to take a short rest. It's also a time that you can roll your hit dice, of which you only have one, and you only recover half rounding up of your hit dice after a long rest. So, because everybody's at level 1, so you guys only have one. So you could roll, and for that, what you would do is you would roll your hit dice again, and you gain that much life back. You cannot exceed your maximum. So, like, if you have a D12, like I'm looking at Andres, he has a D12, and he's down 8 points, and I roll a 10, I still only can get 8 points back.
Okay.
But you would have to let me know. You'd have to mark it off that you've rolled it and stuff like that. That way you know. And then you gain half rounding up after a long rest. But you would want to declare that you're doing that. Now, unlike what we have normally played, since we have a couple of new beginners and we're into a new campaign, if you guys, I heard you mention you want to kind of rummage through everything. If you want to loot things that you have felled, you need to let me know, because I do actually have treasure. And I want to make sure that we kind of get into the pattern. Eventually we'll get to the point that it will just be assumed that you guys loot as you go. But I want to get you guys in the pattern of looting and tell me you've looted, because looking for traps.
Yeah. I didn't loot the wargs because I assumed
You wouldn't have
that
found anything.
wargs. So
Yeah.
I don't expect them to have anything.
They have fur.
Yeah. I'm
Mangy
not
fur.
in the fur business right now.
They can make nice rugs.
So yeah, I would say my idea for a plan would just be to investigate this whole building and then take a short rest here, if it's safe.
Okay.
If that's what the party wants to do. I mean, I don't think there's anyone in this town. There might be some more goblins or animals wandering about, but I think this is a pretty good clue that no one else is here.
Yeah.
I would offer that we all take a short rest, but the person with the most health maybe stands watch just in case.
Or Andre.
Is there only one way in?
Besides the windows and door, or besides the windows, yes, there's one set of double doors that you guys walk through that you.
I say we close the doors and just kind of nap with our backs against the door.
And you're wanting to rummage through stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Who's rummaging?
I'm rummaging.
Where?
That room that I went in to rummage in the
Okay.
first place. I also got to pick up my dagger in there.
All right. So
I'll check the goblins for anything they made a drop.
okay,
I'll check the bill.
you check the bell.
Yeah, see if
Okay.
there's anything in the bill.
Cool.
Trap/rummage.
All right. So you find. We'll get to yours in a second. You find a sack. This is Beato's. And it contains 3 blocks of incense. They're worth 5 gold pieces each. Silver holy symbol of Mike, shaped like a unicorn's head. It's worth 25 gold. And some personal artifacts that, as far as you can tell, are pretty much worthless.
All right. You said two incense or 3 incense?
3.
3 incense.
You find there's a landing a little bit further up the rope, and you can get to it fairly easy. And that's Vark's sack, and it contains 3 empty vials that you know these. They actually are what you would normally find holy water in, and it looks like they've been drank by a goblin's mouth, which is weird.
Yeah, we're trying to convert.
And you also find 1 healing potion. Actually, I shouldn't have said that, but anyway, I'm supposed to make you figure that part out. But you find,
This is liquid.
yeah, you find it's
a
a,
bit cooler.
you
Well,
find
it's
a,
easy to tell because health potions are always red.
Right.
well, not, but there's ones that are red that are bad. Yeah, it's just a potion of healing. So that does 2d4 plus 2 when consumed. It's a red crystalline container that has a swirling liquid in it that just seems to pulse on its own just every so often. You've seen it before in your past as a cleric, and that's worth 50 gold in case you guys ever want to sell those. Most people, most people never sell those. And let's see, you search the goblins.
Yeah.
You find, their weapons. You find a couple of daggers or a couple scimitars. They're in really bad shape. They're only worth like a couple gold each. You find crossbow bolts. You find 20 on each of them because they never fired.
Does anyone have a crossbow?
They both have crossbows. They're both light
Okay.
crossbows.
He's got a crossbow.
And so you find two, what are they called? Oh man, the thing you put arrows in.
Quiver.
You find 2 full quivers of crossbow bolts. Actually, you find 1 full quiver, and you find this device that's attached to their light crossbow that could probably come off just by untying and stuff like that, that holds 5 quivers on each side that can be quickly pulled out and dropped in for rapid fire.
Oh, so it's like a little attachment where you can have 5 more bolts. So
Mhm.
you don't have to do this. You do
Mhm.
that. Wow.
And you find, collectively between the two of them, you find 6 copper, 20 silver, and 7 gold.
Man, those are some rich goblins.
Is anybody searching the rest of the actual,
I'll search
like
the
the
rest.
altar and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'll search the rest since they're focusing on the goblins.
All right.
The elves.
You find near the front door, it's the pour box,
Ooh.
and the
almost
lock has
for
been
us.
busted, but it's still closed. Do you open it?
Yes.
Ooh.
All right. Inside the pour box, there are 37 copper and 15 silver.
Those are good opportunities to
Check for
at
traps.
least check for a trap.
Okay.
So with that, I'm assuming you guys are wanting to take a short rest.
Yeah.
Okay. Is
Well,
anybody rolling?
I'm doing a hit die.
Okay.
What do I got? D8.
If you're full health, there's no point.
If you're at full health, don't do it. You're wasting it.
That's an 8. So I'm at full health now. Whatever happened to predictability?
I'll do that too. This dice.
Mm-hmm. You could also drink your healing potion to where you don't have to roll your hit dice.
You took damage?
But you don't know if you're going to need that later since it's only like
Yeah.
10 o'clock in the morning. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna save that. 9.
okay. You add back what you need to be at full health. Because you didn't take 9, I don't think.
No, it was 4.
Just, I don't think I need to rest at the moment. So while they're resting, I was gonna, without leaving the church we're in, I was gonna see if I can investigate, see if I can find out anything about what happened to the people or what the goblins were up to. Any clues?
Yeah, give me a perception.
Perception or investigation?
Either or, whichever one's higher for you.
Investigation.
Or even religion, whichever one's higher.
17.
All right, so you can tell that the people who were here, there were probably people here at one point that were probably worshiping, and they got out in a hurry. You see, like, chairs and stuff are overturned. And it looks like the goblins have been there for a little while, not like long. You're not finding any, like urine in the corner or anything like that. But you're finding evidence that they've been there for at least a few hours. If not maybe a half of a day, and like things were pretty well gone through. Like the altar had a banner across it that was torn to shreds, and things along those lines. So that's what you can pretty much tell in the 15 or so minutes
So
that
this
you
bit
get
of
to
money
spend.
they had, they might have found it here.
Right. Pretty safe to assume.
Okay. But also, I doubt that 2 goblins ran the whole town out.
Pretty also, yeah.
So there's going to be more fun things to find.
Yeah, and you can tell by the stuff that you find that the name of the acolyte that was leading the town in worship, his name is Hyrule Mysterum. I can spell that for you if you need. Hiral, and then it's Mystrum. But things like the stained glass, like you don't find any, like, to further the lack of long-standing evidence, like things like the stained glass aren't torn to shreds. There's a few banners and stuff like that that just are not in complete disarray. So, all right. So what's going on? We can switch back to the regular map.
I think we need to continue exploring the village.
Does anyone want one of these crossbows? I don't need 2.
I already have one.
I've got one.
Would you like this extra quiver mechanism that attaches?
I will take that.
Alright.
It requires attunement.
Okay.
Means
Can we say that I gave it to him before the short rest?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
And would that
That's nice.
attune him?
Yes. So this allows you to, once per day, add a second crossbow attack to the same target.
And then with that, I'll give you one of the full quivers. Then I'll pick up one of those crossbows and I was going to leave one.
Okay.
Alright. I would like to stealth again.
Okay. Roll.
Is a 23.
All right. Now here's the option we have. We can either pick it up. We can stop now because we're at 9:20, 9:30, which is a good spot to stop because you guys have just completed a long rest. You've gone through 2 encounters.
A short rest.
Or short rest. You guys have gone through 2 encounters. So if you wanted to stop, now would be a really good time.
Yeah.
And then you guys we can pick it
I
up
think
next
that's a good
week
idea.
and continue on. So that's my recommendation. If you guys want to play, we have about another half hour.
I can stop here because there's a good chance that in a half hour something happens and we're in the middle of a long
Yeah,
battle,
yeah.
which tends
Right.
to happen.
Because my goal is to always end no later than 10. Because all of us have work the next day. 3 of us now. 3 of us have kids. One will have a kid in a few months. One has a dog. Whatever. Puppies, you know. But yeah, I think with that we'll end this tonight. And providing that my recording turned out really well, I'm actually going to post this one to YouTube, probably tomorrow, if not tonight. And I'll send you guys the link. But that way you guys can feel free to relive this amazing event. And I'm going to work on getting more graphics and stuff. And why don't I just go ahead and stop talking on Twitch?